Football works in awfully strange ways, doesn't it? Welcome back, everyone. Jack Reeve, TalkNorwichCity. And on the day that I turned 26 and figured out that I'm now 2 years older than Gabriel Sara, the Canaries travelled to Ashton Gate and beat Bristol City 2-1, coming from behind. It's now 3 wins in 4 for the Canaries, 4 points off the playoffs. What's wrong? What are we all moaning about? Things are fine. Or are they? Wow, what a day. It was my birthday, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to put myself through the pain and the misery of watching Norwich today. You know, I felt like the result was going to be somewhat predictable. I felt as if the performance was going to be somewhat predictable. I saw the starting 11. I questioned it. Just as I was travelling to the restaurant we went to, I saw that Bristol City had taken the lead. I switched my phone off. I thought, I'm not seeing any more of this again today. I can't do it to myself. And I switched my phone back on at full time, and Norwich City have won 2-1. I've got back, I've watched it with a pint of Lakens, and everything feels a lot happier than it did 24 hours ago. Before we get into the nitty-gritty parts of it, I just want to say a big thanks to everyone who's already bought their Gabriel Sara mugs. If you want one before Christmas, we've put free delivery on for this weekend only. It ends at midnight tonight. So if you're watching this video, you've got, a couple of hours. If you're watching it on Monday, sorry, the free delivery's gone, but you can still pick yourselves up a mug. You save a couple of quid with the free delivery. Gabby Sara's got one himself. He loves it. You guys are all loving that have already got one. All profits go back into the channel. The link will be in the description, or you can click somewhere in here. It should show where you get it, and you can pick one up, or you can head over to our Twitter and see it. But we've won, and look, it's been a really rubbish week actually to be a Norwich fan. And you know, I think some people think that me being negative is my natural reaction and what I want to be like, and that's just not true. I hate talking about Norwich in a negative light. I want the best for this football club. I think all of my frustration this season has come from that point of frustration of, you know, I think we can be doing better than we are. I think we have the capacity to do so. I think we've wasted opportunity before. You know, all of my aggression and anger hasn't necessarily been, you know, it's never been personal. It's been I think we can move forward as a football club, and I don't deem us to be doing so. And look, does this result today change the greater landscape of Norwich at the moment? No, I don't think it does, but it does at least lighten up what's been a miserable week. We had a 3-2 defeat at Watford where we went 2-0 up. We had a really problematic AGM, and you know, we've talked about that, and that's somewhat in the past now. I'm sure there will be repercussions from that, but it was just nice to get a win, and I'm so delighted, absolutely delighted for the, I think, 1,300 Norwich fans that went to Bristol today, far more committed and hardy than I am. Look, they would have travelled to Bristol with zero expectation, with the thought that this side were going to get beat and beaten well, and yet they still paid probably 100 quid for their tickets and travel and food and drink, and spent the whole day in truly miserable British weather, battled train strikes, rocked up, sang loud, sang proud, backed this team, and got them over the line. And for those at the football club who almost dismiss the opinions of the moany 20%. This is never coming from a personal viewpoint from any Norwich City fan. There might be critics of Delia, there might be critics of Wagner and whoever it may be at the football club. This has never been a personal thing. This has always been one of, I think it comes from a place of love. A place that we want to see our football club doing the best we can. We are one of the loyalist fan bases in the country, and I'm so delighted that they got to see a win today. Look, Norwich went behind. It was more of the same, I think, from Norwich, and a really good save from Angus Gunn, and we'll get on to him shortly. And it falls to the Bristol player, and taps home. Norwich players looking like statues somewhat, sort of just ball watching and taps home. And at that point, just after Jason Knight had scored, you go, okay, like this could be another really problematic day for Norwich. We hadn't, got our foot on the ball too much. It was an intriguing lineup with Kenny McLean and at centre back, and I think actually, if you look at the full 90 minutes and the way that Bristol ended up playing, that was a fairly clever move from I think he said Farker then, certainly not Farker, from David Wagner, who put in McLean. I think there was less aerial threat from Bristol City than probably your traditional Championship team today. McLean has far more, talent on the ball than I think Duffy and maybe even Jayden Warner. We often see McLean drop into a centre-back position, when we're in an attacking sense. He kind of drops in for that phase of play. So, that was an interesting move. Will we get away with it in every game? No. But it's nice that Wagner has adapted somewhat. I think there were critics for Fronel Hernandez in the starting lineup, and look, I don't think Hernandez has been great this season at all, and probably warranted being dropped. But I thought actually, in terms of his recent performances, today was one of the better ones. There was criticism for Borja Sainz not starting. He would have probably gone in for Fronel Hernandez, but now you've got Jonathan Rowe back in the mix, so that's almost one less place for Borja Sainz to compete for. Rowe is an absolute shoe-in. So, look, it's always a lot easier when you've won with hindsight. Would I be starting on El Hernandez in the next game against Preston? No, I wouldn't. I would be opting with Borja Sainz. I'm not sure if it was someone said it on Twitter or it's come from official club accounts, but I think it's the language barrier almost for Borja that's kind of stopped him from getting in this starting 11 at the moment. He looks a really class player. I would like to see Sainz in their next game. Ashley Barnes started up top on himself. I thought he looked okay. I still think he's getting back up to full fitness. There were a couple of chances for him in today's game. Maybe should have taken, one of them didn't. I think that, look, we'll start from back to front. Angus Gunn coming back in from injury is absolutely huge. I mean, 2 or 3 saves today that I don't think George Long makes. It's suddenly game out of reach if they go in. But Angus Gunn has the ability at this level to be a match-winning goalkeeper. Just as important as goals scored at the other end. Look, George Long's been really poor actually in the last few games, and I don't like piling into players, but I think he's warranted criticism, particularly against Watford, where I think all 3 of those goals he'll be disappointed he let in. So Angus Gunn coming in is brilliant. I've mentioned the kind of McLean and Duffy pairing. I thought Younes was far better today. It's nice to see him drilling in low crosses, one of them coming for the own goal, which kind of put them into an area where they needed to make mistakes. I'm still unsure on Liam Gibbs. I don't think I don't particularly like Liam Gibbs in the 10. I think when he's played deeper, he's impressed me more. I think there's still work to be done from Gibbs. I'd like to see a loan from him at some point. And then going forwards, great to have Johnny Rowe back in the side. I think him and Angus Gunn kind of being out at similar times was huge. And you do feel slightly more optimistic when you know that Sargent's also on the kind of verge of returning, or at least within the next month, hopefully. Rowe, Gunn and Sargent back in that side is going to be absolutely massive. And credit to Idah actually, who gets the winner. And you look at the goals he's scored this season. It's remarkable, really. I mean, particularly in the last month or so, his impact has been seen more off of the bench, and yet he's still putting up some really impressive numbers. This coming from NCFC numbers. Norwich City player since 1990 to score 3 winning goals after the 80th minute in the same season. Holt in 2010-2011, Pukki in 2018-19, Adam Idah already, and we're in the 3rd of December in this season. So 3 goals after the 80th minute that have gone on to be the winning goals. Look, Adam Idah, he's far from perfect. We all know that. And I think he would have, suited a loan move maybe last season or something like that. But we've always known that the physicality kind of element is there with Adam. It's been the parts around that. And actually this season, there's been moments where you need to be critical of him, but when it matters, he's popped up and he's delivered. And look, facts don't care about feelings. Those numbers, that metric there, shows that in big moments, Adam Idah pops up. So delighted for him, and the celebrations that followed were quite frankly head loss, weren't they? I mean, what we saw from David Wagner running on the pitch, sort of Jose Mourinho-esque, really. Great to see. Look, I still think Wagner should go, but in terms of moments, and that's what we all love about football, that's a moment. That is a moment in time that Norwich fans will look back on, maybe next season when we finish 12th this season and go, wow, yeah, that, I was either there or I can remember where I was at that moment, and that put a smile on my face. And that's what football's ultimately all about. Look, do I think this changes the landscape? No. Do I think Wagner should go? Yes, I still believe that. Do I think the comments from Delia Smith in the AGM were incredibly poor and misinformed and ill-judged in the week? Yes, I do. But still, enjoy this moment, soak it up. These are the reasons and the periods in time that we support a football team that bounces in between leagues. This is what it's all about. It's winning games late on when you don't expect so, even more so when you're at the ground and you've gone and you've spent your hard-earned cash and you're going to be getting back late and you've got an early alarm on Monday morning for work. You can look back and go, yeah, actually that was worth it. That was nice. And Norwich have a chance to build if they wish on this. They've got Preston at home. They've then got Sheffield Wednesday at home. Two sides. Look, Sheffield Wednesday somewhat on the up. I mean, there was literally no way further down for them in the Championship, but they did win at the weekend under a new manager. You've got Preston, who are kind of the opposite. I think they're still in the top six or might have just fallen out in a bit of sticky form at the moment. So if you can piece 2 wins together, then that would then be 5 wins in 6. And then you're going into the East Anglian derby. Look, Ipswich are flying at the moment. The informed team in the Championship playing some of the best football, if not the best football. I think Ipswich will win, and I think they'll win convincingly. But 4 points off the playoffs, you win your next 2, you put yourselves within touching distance. You've got a returning Josh Sargent in January. You've got a January transfer window where we hopefully can do something. I don't think we'll be spending big cash, but hopefully be able to muster up something. And maybe a new manager in charge and the ability for Ben Napper to make change. And look, fair play to Norwich. I've been critical and I will continue to be critical when I think it's necessary. But they've dug in deep today. It's clear that Wagner still believes he can change things and he still has passion for this side and he loves his team and clearly his team love him back. I still don't think he's the man to take us forward, and I think the performance was at times really scrappy today. This did look like a mid-table Championship scrap, and Norwich scrapped it out better and ultimately in the big moments had a bit more quality, and that's great. And there will be periods in seasons where you do have to scrap out results. And actually, when you look back at the last 4 games, the Watford game, yes, was ultimately really disappointing, and one where you go and you look at the position we were in during that 90 minutes and go, actually, we should have won that. But a win away at Cardiff, a win at QPR, and a win away at Bristol City, in all of those performances, I don't think they were particularly good, but it's 9 points from a possible 12 in that last 4, and actually that's fairly solid form. So, it's difficult to be critical. Yes, the performance was poor. I've been over that. I actually just want a day where I'm going, you know what, great. We've won a game of football in the last few minutes from behind. Idah scored. Wagner's on the pitch. Delighted for the people that was there. 3 points on my birthday. Look, for today, I'm going to leave the majority of moaning aside and just go, yes, we did it. We did it, and we move a little bit up the table in terms of points, and I'm sure we'll be back to moaning soon. And I don't want to do this. I don't want to be moaning. And I do think there will be decisions made this season that put us in a position where we can look forwards and we can grip onto an identity, and we can, instead of going, oh, what could have been, we can be thinking about the next phase. And I think that is close. And I do have hope in Napper and the Atanasios. But we needed this after what's been a really traumatic and problematic week for the football club. Look, I've been waffling. I'm absolutely over the moon with today in isolation, and I'll be going to bed with a big fat smile on my face. So there we go. Be happy. We'll be back to moaning next week, I'm sure. But well done to Norwich. I thought Sarah was good again and has that real quality. Delighted for Idah. And actually really delighted for Kenny McLean as well, who, has been criticised this season and rightly so at times, but has undoubtedly had the absolute best interests of Norwich City at heart and provided a few real bits of quality today in a position that he probably doesn't like playing. So there we go. Norwich have won 2-1 at Bristol City. Absolutely over the moon. I'm another year older. My joints are starting to hurt. I think I can wave bye-bye to any chance of a professional football career. But I don't care. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.